Today, we're going to have a brief overview of criminal law. In today's lecture, we will define what a crime is, explore why we punish criminal behavior, explore the components of a crime, and apply what we're learning using hypotheticals. The central question is, what is a crime? According to Black's Law Dictionary, a crime is an act that the law, through cases and statutes, makes punishable, or the breach of a legal duty treated as the subject matter of a criminal proceeding. Black's Law Dictionary is the law's Webster's Dictionary. It will become your close friend in law school. In summary, a crime is a wrong against the state. There are two major theories of criminal punishment. The first is the utilitarian theory. Under the utilitarian theory, society should be organized for the greatest good for the greatest number. We punish criminal acts because punishing those acts benefits the society. The purpose of criminal law is to prevent crime. The purpose of criminal punishment is to rehabilitate the criminal, isolate or incapacitate the criminals so that the criminal cannot cause harm to the society, denounce the crime to the society so that all the society members know what behavior is proscribed, and to deter future crime. The second theory is the retribution theory. Under the retribution theory, criminal punishment is a way of meting out justice. It also allows the members of the society to know what is a wrong against the society. It includes deterrence, but under the retribution theory, people believe that deterrence should fit the crime. Therefore, the punishment should not be out of proportion with what the criminal act was. What that means is that you don't punish running a red light at the same level that you punish murder. Both would be theoretically deterred by the death penalty, but they're not equal wrongs against the society, and it would not be just to give the death penalty to someone for running a red light. These theories are important because they underlie the rationales for the rulings that judges make and the laws that are made by the legislature. In fact, in your first few weeks of school, you'll probably discuss these theories very thoroughly so that you can fully understand the cases that come later. Let's move to a hypothetical. Let's talk about Tom, Dick, and Harry. Tom, Dick, and Harry are three teens who go on a shoplifting spree in a mall. They also rudely bump into customers and write graffiti on the walls. The question is, what acts are we focusing on when we are trying to determine if a crime was committed? Shoplifting. Would shoplifting be a crime? If Tom, Dick, and Harry shoplift, they have taken something that does not belong to them. They have stolen goods. Stealing is a crime. But stealing is also a civil wrong against individuals. So the individual shop owners could sue them in civil court for the damage they caused and for the value of the goods they took. The second crime is bumping into people. Bumping into people is the crime of battery. Battery is also a civil wrong that people can be sued for. But let's say they knock down Jill, and Jill just gets up and brushes herself off and said, "Oh, they're just kids." Would that matter? Would it be any less of a crime? Remember, crimes are wrongs against the society, not individuals. Just because Jill didn't mind would not mean that it would be any less of a crime. What about the status of Tom, Dick, and Harry? Say Tom is 19 and Dick is 13. Would we treat them differently? Yes, Tom would likely be charged as an adult, where Dick would probably go through the juvenile law system, where he would not be treated in the same way. That's because at the core of criminal law is moral condemnation and punishment based on blameworthiness. We hold that children are less culpable for their acts than adults. Therefore, adults deserve punishment where children may not. Let's say that Harry is in a full-blown schizophrenic episode. Would he be held culpable for bumping into people? Probably not. Because in order to be held culpable, you must intend to commit the crime. If Harry is in the midst of a schizophrenic episode, can we really say he intends to bump into people? The third act is the act of writing graffiti. In many jurisdictions, writing graffiti is not a crime. It's a violation, akin to a parking ticket. So criminal law covers some wrongs against society, but not all. Criminal acts have two elements. The first element is actus reus. That is the physical act of the crime. I pick up a gun, I point it at a man, I pull the trigger, I shoot him, and he dies. I have committed all the physical acts necessary to be charged with homicide. But my acts must be voluntary. Say I'm walking through a room and someone pushes me and I knock into a loaded gun, which goes off and kills the man. I have still killed him, but I don't have sufficient actus reus to be charged with homicide because I didn't voluntarily take up the gun. The second element of a criminal act is mens rea. Mens rea is state of mind or intent. The state of mind must be legally prescribed mental state of a person charged with a crime before, during, and after the commission of the crime. It is your intent to do the acts which are elements of the crime. I picked up the gun, I pointed it at the man, I pulled the trigger. I intended to pick up the gun. I intended to point it at the man. I intended to pull the trigger. Therefore, I have sufficient mens rea for the crime. Often, first-year students confuse mens rea with motive. Motive is why I picked up the gun. The man had beat me in a business deal, and I was angry. That would be my motive for shooting him. But my mens rea is my intent to do the act, which is the crime. If I don't intend to shoot the man, if instead I believe the gun I'm picking up is a water gun and I just intend to wet the man down with it, then I won't have sufficient mens rea to meet the elements of the crime. As you can see here in our picture, it's the difference between the unfortunate sneeze, which kills the snowman, and the intentional holdup of the snowman with the hairdryer. In today's lecture, we've covered the definition of a crime, a wrong against the state. We've explored why we punish criminal behavior under the retribution theory and the utilitarian theory. We've explored the components of a crime, the actus reus, and the mens rea, and we've applied the material to hypothetical situations. The purpose of this lecture is to give you a context for the hypotheticals that you will be working on in your writing assignments next week. Please come to class with any questions you have. Thank you.